Cornell Notes. The purpose of Cornell Notes is to allow you to take notes on a topic and then come back and use the notes later, or be able to study for an exam, an assessment for them. So it's a really important way to learn information, because when you write it down, it allows you to remember better. So Cornell Notes is a specific type, right? So when you first get the form, right, you fill out your name, the period, and the date. You want to do that for two reasons. Not only do you want to identify when your note-taking took place, you also don't want to lose points on something so simple. So you want to make sure you fill that out. And then your topic or objective. So I'm going to go through, right, and the first thing you take notes on is how to use the iPad in class. So there are lots of ways to do it, but we're going to say how to use the iPad in class. Okay. Another example I gave you here is, what are my responsibilities when using technology in Misty Hart's classroom? So there are many questions you could ask. You know, how to use the iPad in class is a statement, right? It's the objective. But you could also say, how do you use the iPad in class? That would be a sentence in which I would need a question mark at the end. Oops, and then I reverse them, so I will do an arrow. Sorry about that. And then this is going to be period number 3. Okay, so that's an example of how you write this information. And it's important to notice in this title that I have capitalized every important word. iPad is a specific word that is spelled this way all the time, no matter what, and then class. But the prepositions are not capitalized unless they appear at the beginning of the sentence. They're not supposed to be capitalized. So make sure that you use that grammar rule when you're writing down your topic. Then the essential question, right, is how to, I could say, how to take care of technology in the classroom. Or I have an example over here is what the essential question. What are my responsibilities when using technology in Misty Hart's classroom? Okay, so I'm going to just say how to properly, essential question or statement. How do I properly use technology in, I'm going to say, and that's a question mark. So how do I properly use technology in Misty's classroom? That's the sentence I'm going to use. But you could have used the other sentence that is on the paper. It's up to you. Okay, now we're going to go through, and then this is going to be the topic or the question, and these are going to be notes. And again, on this example that I've given you, okay, the first question is, what are my technology options in this classroom? Okay, so what are my technology options in this classroom? So I'm going to abbreviate that by saying tech options in classroom. Okay, there we go, tech options in classroom. So that's good enough. It means enough for me. I don't need the whole sentence. And so what are your technology options in this classroom? Really, what is the answer, right? You have computers, right? You have iPads. You have BYOD, right, for bring your own device. And that's about it. That's a good example. So I've answered the question, tech options in the classroom, and I've come up with computers, iPads, and BYOD. Solid answer, done. Next question. What are my responsibilities when using technology in the classroom? Okay, and so I'm just going to say tech responsibilities. Okay, as a statement, so I don't need a question mark. And then I come over here and I see that number 1 is the not for class apps are not to be used, are not for use in the classroom. Please don't use them. And so I'm going to say do not use not for class apps. So I abbreviated. The not for class apps are not for use in class. Please don't use them. Do not use the not for class apps. Same thing, moving on. Second one, nothing is to be downloaded on the iPads for personal use. Easy for me, that means do not download apps. Done. 4 words. So I would continue reading and then abbreviating, and I'm almost out of room, so I would also flip the paper to the other side to continue until I'm done with question number 2. And then what are the consequences? I would go question number 3. What are the consequences for making bad decisions? And then number 4, what are my goals for using technology in this classroom? And you have to answer that question. So by the time you do that, you've got a couple of notes here, and then it's time for you to do your summary. What is important about a summary? You have to have an opening statement. So for example, I'm just going to summarize what I currently have now. So what do I need to do? Today I learned the proper way to handle technology. Do not abbreviate a summary in Miss Hart's classroom. Period. Okay? So today I learned the proper way to handle technology in Miss Hart's classroom. And then you'd want to give an example or two. I'm going to give one example. For example, I know not to use the not for class apps. For example, I know not to use the not for class apps. That's not the best sentence in the world, but for now, I'm just giving you an example. And then I'm going to wrap this up. So today I learned the proper way to handle technology in Miss Hart's classroom. For example, I know not to use the not for class apps. Then I'm going to say the knowledge I reviewed in the notes will allow me to handle technology responsibly in Ms. Hart's classroom. Period. Done. Brief summary, opening sentence, ending sentence. 1 or 2 examples in the middle. That's all I'm looking for. So how to use the iPads in the class. Then I learned how to use the iPads in the class. This answers the statement above. That's it. If you have any questions about how to write Cornell Notes, 2 things. Number 1, please look at the feedback sheets that I give you when I grade your Cornell Notes. And then look at this video and ask me. All of those options are available to you. Good luck. I know you'll do a wonderful job.